Honor Hot 3 from Honor Credit Union, being joined by Jim Burr, Vice President of Risk Management today. Hey, Jim, how are you, man?
I am doing outstanding, Mark. Thank you for asking. How are you this
I'm
morning?
doing fabulous. Unfortunately, you probably have more job security than anybody else in this world, thanks to all the fraudsters out there.
Yeah, it's certainly something that we see quite a bit of, and I think what we find is that in my team we spend a lot of time and resources and whatnot in doing what we can to help prevent fraud. But what we found is that oftentimes, it's you, our member, who is the best line of defense in protecting your own money by being aware. Because a lot of times, by the time it comes to us, something has already happened, and we're catching it after the fact, and we may be limited in what we can do. So, again, just if you can practice some awareness, and we can talk about that a little bit, Mark, we can help you protect your own money. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about. I mean, you're on the front line, obviously. I mean, are you amazed at how good these fraudsters have gotten?
Yeah, it's evolution, right? Like it's almost like a survival of the fittest Darwinian type of thing, right? Where you have the financial institutions find something, they get smarter, they figure out how to prevent it, the bad guys figure out another way, and it just kind of is this dance that goes on and on. And it's they don't have to be right too often to have to make a good living at it, where we have to be right all the time. So it really presents a challenge. And again, oftentimes, like you, Mark, you're your best defense, right? We can help, we're there to help, right? And there's a lot of tools we can do to help. But man, that awareness that you bring to the table is really going to be important, because the bad guys are always trying to figure out how to get around the technology. Well, it's a little more difficult to get around you if you're prepared.
Let's talk about some of those tips and things that we as members could be aware of.
Yeah. So, well, first off, first of all, don't trust every call, text, or email that you get, right? Like, we know that the bad guys come around every few months and send out these spam texts, and they try and get you to click. They act with some kind of urgency. Oh, your account's locked down. Click this link to unlock it. Don't do that, right? If you get a call or a text from a member, an unknown number, or even if it's a number just be on alert, right, with regards to the questions that they're asking, right? They're going to try and get a sense of urgency, right? They're going to try and get you agitated. But if you can just sit here and say, okay, wait a minute, my financial institution, Honor, is not going to ask you for debit and credit card numbers, right? We're not going to ask you for your usernames and passwords. We're not going to ask you for your PIN. We're not going to ask you to tell us the security questions and the answers, right? Like, we have our own ways of validating that you are who you are. We're not going to ask you for this, but the bad guys will, because that way they can make it look like they're you. I mean, if you walk into one of our member centers, Mark, we go, hey, that's Mark. How you doing, Mark? How's life, right? If you're logging in through your phone or through a laptop or something like that, we can't tell, right? All we can base it off of is the username and password, right? So you got to be very, very cautious. And if you are getting an unsolicited call from a number you don't recognize, and they're asking you these kind of questions, hang up and give us a call, right? Let us know, hey, these people tried to get a hold of me. They were asking me for this information. I didn't feel good. Call us, 800-442-2800. We have someone on the team here who would be happy to talk to you and record it and let you know, hey, you've made the right call there, right?
Yeah. So awareness is really the name of the game in all aspects.
100%. 100%. And, there's other things that you can do. So, if you are, you see some suspicious activity on your cards, right? You can actually set up alerts within our website, within our online banking, that will let you know, hey, this activity is happening, and did you expect it to happen or whatnot? Or if it's coming from like an unknown source at an unusual time or whatnot, you can set up these alerts to give you a message to say, hey, something's going on here. You can go in, check in online, and put in place, like if you need to stop your card or lock your account or anything like that, right? You have the ability to do that within your online banking tool. So, it's one thing to be aware, but you can also use some of the tools that we have in our mobile and our online banking to help you with that awareness, right? To help you be aware of something that may be going on behind the scenes that you otherwise wouldn't see because you're not the one swiping the card.
Yeah. So if your spidey senses are up, there's probably a reason for it. And how do we find out more information, or if we have any questions, or to get a hold of you or your team, or just figure out what's going on?
Yeah. So again, you can reach us at 800-442-2800. You can go to our website, honorcu.com. We have all sorts of tips and tricks and other materials that you can get through our website, or stop into one of our member centers. We have them all over the area. Please stop in and introduce yourself and talk with us if you've got questions, if you've got concerns. Just, especially as we head into the holiday season, you got to be aware folks are the bad guys know that you're distracted during the holidays. They know you're spending a lot of money and they know you're distracted, and they will utilize that in a way to attempt to get that money out of you. So you just got to be very, very cautious and aware. And I think, one of the things that, is kind of newer, and I wanted to make sure I touched on a little bit. One of the things that we've seen in the area of late is a technology called a skimmer. And that's basically where a bad guy can insert a reader into something like a gas station pump where you put in your card, or at an ATM. And what it'll do is it'll actually read the information off of your card, and then they'll attempt to create dummy cards, or they'll just use that information then to attempt to separate you from your money. Right. In a number of different ways. So you got to be alert when you go to like these gas stations. We go to an ATM, like if the number pad doesn't look right, like if it looks like the keys are off center, if it's difficult to push the buttons, get your card back and walk away, report it. Right. If the actual, like where you put the card in, if it seems like it's chipped, or it's broken, or it's disfigured, or it's difficult to get the card in, same thing, take your card back, contact your financial institution, call us at 1-800-442-2800, and make sure to let us know, hey, something doesn't look right about this. Because, like I say, they don't have to be right very often, the bad guys, that is, right? But you got to be vigilant all the time.
That's a great tip. Thank you so much for all that you do. Jim Burr, VP of Risk Management, Honor Credit Union. Great tips. Thank you for keeping us safe, for all that you do. And it's great to see your face and talk to you.
No, my pleasure, Mark. Be well. And thank you all. Have a happy holiday season, and be aware.
You too. Jim Burr, VP of Risk Management, Honor Credit.